here's Brody Brazil.
We've got breaking news here on the channel, and this is a big one. It's something we talk about all the time. It's something that a lot of people have anticipated. I also realize it's going to make some people happy. It's going to make some people disappointed geographically, depending on where you are. The Tampa Bay Rays are for sale. Now, to be clear, they're not sold yet, and they're not advertising themselves as being for sale. They're letting people know that they are specifically working with one group. There's letters of intent on both sides to make this transaction complete. So it's not an advertisement that they're for sale. It's an understanding that they are in the process of being sold, but have not been sold yet. Maybe in the coming days or weeks or months. This is a big process. This is a multi-billion-dollar transaction. It's going to take some time. Who knows how that's going to go? But the process is underway, and to make it public and to confirm it and acknowledge it, I also think add some new layers to this. Let me first spell out what we know and then eventually get to some inside thoughts about everything. This was first reported by Sportico, who, by the way, has been all over some of these franchise sale and purchase stories as of late. In fact, just last night, it came out that San Jose Earthquakes owner and Athletics owner John Fisher is going to sell his MLS team, perhaps as part of funding and financing the A's ballpark in Las Vegas. Does that get him closer to being a complete package financially, or maybe not? That's not understood yet. But again, Sportico was on that story. They were all over this first. They reported it, and then it was confirmed by the Rays that they're having, quote, exclusive discussions with this group led by Patrick Zalupski. More on him in just a second. But the report was advanced talks and confirmed by the Rays. These are exclusive discussions. So it's very important. The Rays are not advertising themselves for sale. They're letting you know that they are well underway with this process and specifically who they're working with. Now, both sides have signed a letter of intent. This is exclusive. This is a window. This is an opportunity to go back and forth. There's going to be some negotiation, I would imagine, on the $1.7 billion value of the team as like the sale price. We'll see how it all shakes out. What perks, what type of, small things are included in this deal. It's not just as simple as a price tag, or a sticker on a car, and that's what you're going to pay. There is a little bit of haggling you'd have to think back and forth between these two sides. But in terms of Patrick Zalupski, here's what we do know about him, because this is interesting. If he's the leader of this group, what is their intention to do with this baseball team, right? The Rays were very much up in the air. St. Pete or Tampa or Orlando. I mean, that kind of feels like it's crossed off the list if this purchase and transaction goes through. More on that later, but Zalupski is Florida-based. He seems very Tampa-focused. I've been making contact with a lot of people I know and sources I have in the Tampa market, in the Florida region, that say that it feels and seems like it would be every part of his intention to keep this team in Tampa Bay, and specifically more city of Tampa than even St. Pete, which again would make a lot of Tampa Bay Rays fans happy, I think. Again, it's the Orlando side that's going to feel different about this. But this is what a lot of Rays fans were hoping for. This is what people like J.P. Peterson were saying all along, that there's multiple groups out there with well-suited buyers that could do this, that could take on this project. This is a developer here. So you're not only getting a buyer of a baseball team who you would think has the right money to purchase this team, be part of a group, have a good solid group, but somebody who's a developer who knows how to get, projects done, ballpark projects done. I know he's more in the home building business. He's the CEO of Dream Finders Homes, and that company went public in 2021. So I believe at around 40 years old, he became a billionaire. Must be nice. But obviously, the financials seem to be there. The group seems to be there. From what I also understand, this is not brand new. He's been at this for a while, trying to knock on Sternberg's door. Apparently, up until now, it was a closed door. Now it's an open door for this conversation. Let's get to some initial reactions here, because there's a lot to unpack, as the kids say, about all of this. Now we maybe know why things had been so quiet on the Rays front. Like, it has been 3 months, really, since we've heard much from the Rays, since they backed out of their own stadium deal right at the start of this baseball season. We've heard a lot from Orlando. We've heard people in St. Pete be upset. We've heard people in Tampa be upset. We've heard about a brand new soccer stadium going into the Ybor Harbor site. And we've heard about how the Gasworks district is kind of crossed off the list in terms of staying in Tampa. By the way, we'll talk more about sites and what is even the possibility of keeping a team in Tampa proper in just a second. But now we maybe know what the Rays have been up to. They haven't been exerting their focus on public statements or comments or dealing with Tropicana Field because maybe they know that it's their intention to be wiping their hands of this by the end of this baseball season, or maybe even by the All-Star break at this point. So they're not really concerned with the future if they're just trying to live in the present and get out of this deal. Maybe now we know why things have been so quiet, at least on the Rays front, not the Orlando front, the Tampa front, the St. Pete front. We haven't heard anything hardly from the Rays in months. Another initial reaction would be this. Maybe Sternberg felt moved to go this direction because of a couple different things or a combination of these things. Number one, maybe the financials were just too difficult. Couldn't pull off a new stadium, couldn't pull off what he wanted to, didn't have the liquid assets, didn't have the other investors in his team, couldn't sell a portion of his team, so maybe the financials just weren't there. Or maybe he saw that there was no real clear path in St. Pete or in Tampa, or even the fact that the Dreamers exist in Orlando. How hard would it be now if Sternberg wanted to take the Rays and move them himself to Orlando? That would have been near impossible with the Dreamers already establishing and kind of camping out and claiming that region as theirs. And if anybody comes there, they're the ones that want to buy that team and plant it in Orlando. My point is, no clear path anywhere. Maybe Sternberg felt trapped. Or, to some degree, and you're going to hear an interview with David Sampson. I actually did yesterday. You're going to hear that interview tomorrow on the channel. He maintains that MLB never put any pressure on Stuart Sternberg to sell the team because owners just don't do that to each other. So I put it in a caption here, or in parentheses. I put that in with a question mark because we really don't know to the extent if baseball has actually pressured Sternberg to be part of this. Like I said, could be one of those things, could be all of those things, or a combination of two. But some of these things have obviously pushed Sternberg to do this and feel this way like he's never felt before. All of this also brings us to some confirmations of many external viewpoints about this Rays situation. What do I mean by that? Well, when we all look at this from afar, like we don't have the books on Sternberg or the Rays or what a stadium costs, but if you kind of crunch the numbers and do the math, do the napkin math, you can see that a lot of this stuff doesn't add up. And now, to some degree, maybe Sternberg deciding to sell the team and realizing it doesn't add up. I'm trapped. I don't have the right situation here or the financials. And so all of these external viewpoints were likely true to some degree. My point is, if you're out there thinking critically about this situation and you've looked at all the elements responsibly and you've taken into account some fudge factors here and there, but you've got a general picture of how things look, and if you can't figure that out, you're not crazy, because this move confirms so many of those external viewpoints. Again, people who don't know the inside of the situation, but can see it from the outside and don't understand it, and now it's kind of panning out the way that they expected. By the way, none of this actually means that a sale has happened. A sale has not happened, and a lot of people were quick to point out Sternberg has been down this road before when he was selling just portions and shares of his team. He was aiming to do that and then backed out of it. This is the same Stuart Sternberg who also considered moving half of his team's season to Montreal a couple years ago. Said St. Pete and the Tampa region were not viable as a Major League Baseball market. So it's not done until it's done. Similar to an A's stadium in Las Vegas. Until it's built and fully done, it's not fully done. That's only fair, right? And I'm not speaking negativity into this. I'm not speaking that into existence like this won't happen. I just want to prepare everybody and be very clear. I don't want you coming back to this video a month from now if hypothetically things do fall apart or take a turn, take a twist. I'm never telling you that they have been sold. I'm telling you that the process is underway, but things are likely imminent, right? Because this has gone public. This is now out there. This isn't something that's speculation anymore. We're not keeping anonymity here. We're not keeping secrets. We know that officially this is underway. So again, doesn't mean a sale has happened, but I would say imminent is probably a best word to be using right now. It would seem, and I think this is obvious, like this is a huge win for Tampa and the region and the fan base. And when I say you get a second chance at keeping the Rays, it's not like you had necessarily a first fair shake at it at all. Now, the Rays have been a good team up and down, and they've kind of defied the odds a lot of times, a la the Oakland Athletics over all those years, despite what the team and payrolls and what the intentions for the future of the franchise were. The team went against the odds a lot of times and won a lot of things and got to a lot of playoffs and had a lot of success. But this is really a second chance for the region to get the right stadium, the right owner, the right location to try and work with this fan base. Let's see what happens here. You know, it's amazing right now in hockey. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers, by the way, congrats to the Panthers on just winning a second Stanley Cup in a row last night. Look at hockey. The success of the teams, the way they're run, those two teams are booming in Florida. Look at the two baseball teams in Florida. You've got the Rays, who have been who they are in recent times, and again, on the field and off the field, two different things, and the Marlins, and that stadium almost always completely empty. And the team not winning and not spending and turning things over year after year. My point is, I think Florida is perfectly capable of having good baseball attendance and having a good baseball audience, but you just need to have the right teams and people and stadium and situation to actually take care of that. So if you're a Rays fan in Tampa, again, this is the demographic that's absolutely going to love this news. I also want to warn you, though, I still have some questions of land and what site and how can you build a new ballpark. You're going to have to not only buy this team, right, which is going to cost a certain amount, but you're also going to have to some degree, pay for a ballpark. And ballpark construction and tariffs and labor costs right now are through the roof. And who knows, you know, is this a 3-year project, a 5-year project? The only one thing I'll say is, number one, this group has some background as developers, so that obviously helps. But number two, politics should be so much easier with this new group buying in than where Sternberg was at and trying to make things happen already with a bad reputation, already with a backstory and a history of almost 20-something years of just not really having a good relationship and not getting anything ever done, talking about a lot of things, enticing a lot of people, backing out of some things. Politics should be so much easier for the Rays with this brand new ownership group, to the point that they could walk probably right back into St. Pete and say, hey, that deal that the old ownership had, you want to run it back on that? They might do it. Done. Now, I don't know if you're a Tampa fan in Tampa, you're probably like, no, we don't want the St. Pete deal. I'm just saying, though, even something as simple as that could probably be revisited, where if it were Sternberg owning it, probably no chance. Tropicana Field, let's talk about that. At this point, right, there were some reservations about, well, are you going to fix it up and then the Rays might leave after 3 years? At this point, spending the $50 million or so to get it fixed up, it seems like a better investment. It buys the appropriate time for this team to get bought, have the right owners with a right plan and a right situation, and do the right things. You're buying time, biding time, as somebody reminded me the other day. You're getting the chance to have more time to make better decisions and get things done the right way instead of this rush job. And also, Tropicana Field, again, that investment of $50+ million to fix it up didn't make sense if you had no certainty that the Rays were going to continue playing there. Now you've got a group that says, hey, stay in here. We just bought them. Play at Tropicana Field for a couple years. We need some time to figure this out, to build our new spot. But all of a sudden, the investment in Tropicana Field seems a lot more worthwhile. I'm not saying $50 million on a stadium that might only last 3-4 more years that's not a great proposition, but it's way better than having no certainty of the team even staying. The last thing here, we haven't even talked about this yet. I know a lot of you are watching this video specifically to hear me evaluate this. All of these developments with the Rays and potentially staying in Tampa for good, I mean, this could definitely render the Orlando Dreamers stuck in the mud and stuck in their process. I agree with everybody who says that there's no way Florida's going to have 3 Major League Baseball teams, and specifically the proximity and geography between Orlando and Tampa. 90 miles apart, that's just too close. To plant another team in that region, I get it. Orlando's a big market. They've got theme parks. They've got tourism. The Dreamers love to talk about tourism. There's no way Orlando's getting a team so long as Tampa has one. And if Tampa's getting the chance to keep that team, I don't know where that puts the Orlando Dreamers. And I don't take pride either way. Like, I've never been rooting for the Dreamers in this. I've never been rooting against the Rays staying in Tampa and all of this. A lot of people have some preconceived notions about how I feel. I've always said one thing all along. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm pretty neutral. The only thing I do see and side with are the fans of Tampa, because I hate to see any market lose its team. I've seen that movie before. And it seems like this movie potentially is taking a totally different twist, plot change, right in the middle, that's different from the movie, well, that I continue to watch between Oakland and Sacramento and Las Vegas. Seems like this one might have a totally different twist right in the middle. But again, I do not know what this means for the Orlando Dreamers. Can't necessarily be anything good, though, for their long-term ambitions. Okay, the Rays are up for sale, not just to anybody, but a specific group with specific intentions. Maybe we'll learn more about this group in the coming days, but from expectations, it seems like this might be, for the first time in a long time, some stability for the Rays franchise. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, you made it to the end. I love that, so thumbs up for that down below. Helps me, the video, and the channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Down below, hit that button right now. I would love to see you back here next time.